We're gonna the shirt tonight is should be Leila Nishmas as my grandfather. Misor Chaim Ben Ishayo. She just sent the picture on the CN. Unless he's in the wrong place. He's at the wrong address. Okay, we're gonna start from Yovei HaMelech Haman. It's about halfway down the wide lines on Tezvav Amabeis. So Dr. Gemara is going through the story of the Suda of Esther. So she goes into so the last thing we learned was that she went into Achashverosh unannounced, on not unannounced, but on her own volition, and he asked her what does she want, and he said Yavei Melech Haman Elamishah Tanar Banan Mira Isa Mira Asa Esther Shazimna as Haman. Why did she also bring Haman into this party? We're gonna have a bunch of different answers, and the Gemara is going to say at the end that it's really all of them. She made a trap for him. Their table, the table of Risham, should be a stumbling block for them, a trap. She heard it from her father's house, which we know can't really be her father's house because her father died when she was a fetus. But it means she heard the kids playing in the neighborhood, and they used to say this pasuk over. Lechem. If your enemy is hungry, feed them bread. So she understood that, and she ran with that and invited Haman to her party. But Meir Aimer, Haman shouldn't have time alone to plan to usurp and to overthrow Achashverosh. No one should think that she's Jewish, so she got chummy with the Haman, so no one's going to suspect her of being a Yehudis. The people shouldn't get comfortable and say, "Oh, we have our sisters in the palace. We're okay. We don't have to daven anymore," and they're not going to focus on Hashem. Like we see today, whatever they have though. But people got very excited when Jared Kushner was in the White House and whatever. Like that idea, we saw it mamash by in our days. He should always be with her. Like this, if he says anything, or if he constantly, she's always with Haman. Then if she sees an opportunity to throw him under the bus in front of Achashverosh, she's going to take it. Like it says, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Reb Shimon ben Manasseh Amar, Ula Yagish Hamokim V'Yasalanu Nes. Maybe Akash Baruch is going to feel bad for her that she has to be. There's different shouting, but that Esther has to like kiss up to Haman. And Hashem's gonna come in. Hashem's gonna step in and not allow it to continue. Rabbi Shua ben Karcha Amar Aspelei Panim Kadesh Yareg Hu V'Hi. So I'm gonna smile at him. I'm gonna act a little bit inappropriate with Haman in front of Achashverosh, and Achashverosh is gonna be jealous of me. He's gonna say that like there's something going on between me and Haman. He's gonna kill both of us. And the point of that is that if Haman dies, then the Gezer is batal. I didn't see anyone ask this, but I don't understand how she was able to be Moshe Nefesh. I don't know that you're allowed to kill yourself to save other people. That's just interesting. I didn't see that anywhere. Just a hara. It's not about it, but that's her kavanah. So how's she allowed to have the kavanah? You're saying she's a goyim? Okay, I hear. I didn't see it anywhere. Just an interesting thought. Like why am I allowed to kill myself to save other people? I'm not sure. I'm a melech. He was a very flip-floppy king. Not that he used to wear flip-flops, but he always changed his mind. So even if Haman wasn't there, and even if she got him at the Suda, Achashverosh at the Suda alone, and convinced him to kill Haman and to overturn the Gzera, 20 minutes later, he's going to hear another Eitzah, he's going to go the other way. So she wanted to, at the time, throw Haman under the bus, have Haman killed, and then and overthrow it. Here, even though all these answers are good, this coming up one is mamish, really, really excellent. The Tanya of Elizabeth Hamadai Amar cannot do b'melech, cannot do b'sarim. She made with this one move. She made all the officers jealous of Haman and the king jealous of Haman. Rab Amar, so she isolated Haman. She isolated Haman's piece on the board, and he had a lot more enemies now. Rabbi Amar Lefnei Shever going before destruction is Gaiva. So she wanted to inflate his ego, and he's going to be like, not only did the king give me his signet ring, but now the queen's mamash inviting me to private parties between her and the king. So the Gaiva that he's going to experience is going to be a catalyst for his downfall. Good word. Abaya v'Rava da'ami tevayu b'chumim ashes es mishteim. This is referring to Belshazzar. Kosh Baruch Hu is going to say on Belshazzar that I'm going to feed them when they're hot, and they end up drinking a lot of wine, get very drunk, and kill them, and that's Takrav Belshazzar. He died that night. Ashke Rav Baruch Elio, Rav Baruch found Elio Navi. What was Esther's chaz? We have all these parts. What was Esther thinking when she did it? Right? We don't have a way of it. So they asked Elio Amalei. All these cheshbonis that you said she had. I'm assuming that that's even more cheshbonis, but he doesn't say that. How many sons did he have already? Amarav Shleishim, 30. Asara Mesu, 30, 10 were killed. Basara Nitzlu, and 10 were hung. Basara Machzirin al Psachim, and 10 were. So I guess 10 were killed in battle, and 10 were hung afterwards. And Basara Machzirin al Psachim, and 10 were reduced to poverty and had to beg for food. But Rabban Amri. There were 70 that were begging, so it's 70, 10, 10 is 90. So that's it's a play on the words. I'm not sure if this pasuk is talking about them specifically, but this is the ride from that. There were 208. Raiv is gematria 8. In fact, 208. In fact, the Gemara of Raiv is gematria Masayim v'Arvei Sahava. It's 214. Amaram Nachman Yitzchak v'Raiv ksiv without a vav. So you only have 208. Fine. So he doesn't say the breakdown of who was hungry and who whatever, but he says total all in was 208. This is not just referring to. This wasn't referring to Nachashverosh's sleep. This is Kaviyach Hashem's sleep. But Rabban Amri not to do al yonim, not to do tachleinim. The heavens were. This is referring to the malachim. The malachim were tzehist, and they bothered the king downstairs. Rabbi Amr shnas hamelech Achashverosh mamash. Talking about that he couldn't sleep. Just I have to throw this in. Rabbi Wari Jacobson has a shir going on right now. He's learning Maimah from the Rebbe on Purim, and it's mamash and it talks about this pasuk of. Talking about what does it mean that Hashem kings? Hashem sleeps. He goes through it. It's amazing. Okay, you should definitely check it out. It's mamash this year, brand new. Nafalei Milsa Badati. Something fell into his head. Amar the common the zamite Esther Hamar. What's pshat that Haman's inviting that Esther is inviting Haman to parties? No, it's a kashakli who gave the maybe they want to get together and they're going to kill me. And then he said, "What's that? No one in my whole what's it called? My whole cabinet, very good, is going to tell me if they smell something that Esther and Haman are trying to kill me." Maybe then he said afterwards, "Wait, the avid bay tevusa v'loy parata. Maybe the someone who taka once did me a favor and I didn't pay up, and therefore mishum hachi mimani inish v'lemegali. Now no one's come to my defense. I don't pay my chayvus. Miyad v'amar." So that's what the cheshbon was of why he brought in the Sefer Zechariah. And they were the lashon of the pasuk is in the Kram. They were read on their own. In other words, there was a malach that read them, and they came out of the book by themselves because the shamus didn't want to read them because he didn't want to give Mordechai any credit. So kasuv is that it's being written. It's not. Right, it's a diary or it's a divrei yom. It's a chronicles. It's not written now. It's written in the past. Ksavka. Mean by that, it should have said written in the past. The shamus was quickly erasing it, and the Gabriel was writing it again. So it's active. It's kasav and active in the present. Amar Rav Asi Darish Be'Rav Shila Ish Kfar Timrasa Omak Sav Shalama. This is a beautiful word. Even over here, Hashem does not allow our schusim to be erased. Of course, stuff in Shemayim, Hashem does not allow to be erased. So you see from the lashon over here, this is very good. Amar Rava, they didn't say this to give Mordechai any credit. They did this just because they hated Haman and they wanted Mordechai to be treated well. So how do you see from here how does Rabbi know this? Because the pasuk that it's a Geshmak Hadik. The pasuk says What something grand and malchusdik that what something special was done? And they answered nothing. In other words, they should have answered in the same motion. Nothing of splendor was done to him. They just said nothing was done. So to be Yitzhak, just do anything. So you see that the answer wasn't to exalt Mordechai; it was just to piss off Haman. Because he didn't answer him he didn't answer him the lashon the king asked. The king asked, what's something special that we did for him? So he said, oh, we didn't do anything special for him, which would imply now let's do something special. But he didn't want to do something special for Mordechai. He just wanted to do something, and anything that would be done to Mordechai would upset Haman. So the Geshmak Hadith, I think the Mashal said that. How does Rabbi know? What is Rabbi coming from? That he says that they didn't, of course, how do you know they didn't like Mordechai? Maybe just the one guy in the whole entourage over there that actually liked the Jews. Okay, it's a Geshmak. So prepare for him. This is talking about Haman's tree. Right? So he says, Tana loy hechen. It was prepared for him. Not that he prepared. It was loy hechen. It was prepared for him because he ended up being tied on the same tree. The Ase came to Mordechai. That's the Amalei, Manu Mordechai. Which Mordechai? He starts playing dumb. Amalei Hayudi, the Jewish one. He goes, Amalei Tuva Mordechai Yehudi. There's a lot of Mordechais over there. Amalei Hayosh b'Shar Melech. That one, the one sitting in front of by the Shar Melech. Amalei Sagi lei b'chad this karta inema b'chad nahara. Give them one small village to collect taxes on, or one small river. Now this is all not set in the Megillah. This is all subtext, and the Gemara is going to make a diak. Amalei hanami have to give this also to, and that's why you see al tepel davar mikol asher dibarta from everything that you said. Already being moistened by kol asher b'darta because Achashverosh list. Give him the clothes and the horse and the spiel. What are you adding? He's adding the subtext that we just said now. That he tried to get away with like a small present. He said, no, give him the small presents also. So this is the turning point in the whole story. So Haman took the sus and the levush and the whole spiel. So he was showing Hilchas Kamitza. Now, why was Hilchas Kamitza? Rashi says because this is the 16th day of Nisan that this story took place, which is the day that they bring the Eimer. The Eimer is a mincha, and you have to do a Kamitza. So Mordechai is showing them this halacha of Kamitza by the Eimer. Now, if you want to remember it, the 16th day of Nisan and Tezayin is the 16th day, the 16th blot of the 15th blot, but Tezayin in Megillah. To remember, if you want to know where the story is, it's Tezayin. Given the chazit Mordechai the apik lekiblei v'susim miyachabidei. Once he sees he's coming with the royal horse, he knows he's on official business. Mir says he got very nervous. Amar lahu Rabbanan, he said to Rabbanan, "Hay Rashia lemiktal nafshi kaasi." He's coming to kill me. Zilu mekamei delight tikav v'galachta. Don't get burned by his coal. In other words, don't become collateral damage. He shot nisatev Mordechai v'kamlei litzleisen. I didn't see anyone say this, but nisatev. L'chayra means he's tells because it makes sense that it's shachris now, right? If he came to Achashverosh in the middle of the night, and now a couple hours later he's coming to Mordechai, so they're probably having a shir for tugs, and now it's time to daven shachris. So he quickly saw him coming, so he quickly daven shachris. So he has time. Imam sure he's going to Nisa, right? So the last thing he wants to do is put him down and so on. He's waiting for him to finish. He came there and he waited for Mordechai to finish davening. So he spoke to the Chacham, who obviously did not leave, so he did not listen to Mordechai, and he asked him, what are you busy with? When the Beis Hamikdash was around, man the minad of mincha, whoever wanted to bring a mincha, maisi milei kumtzei desulta umischaper late. He could bring a little kamitza of flour, and it would be mechaper. Now, two interesting points. First of all, you didn't only have to bring the kamitza came out of a whole bowl of flour, so the person had to bring the whole thing. But the kamitza was mechaper. That's one point. And the second point is we just said why they were learning kamitza. It's because of Eimer, Rashi said, not because of this nadav. Somebody wants to bring what's it called? So someone wants to bring in a dava. So they bring down that the reason why he mentioned this, why he deviated from the lesson, like he changed he changed what they were learning. He changed to tell them something that they were doing something different. is that this is talking about a kapara, that someone who's poor, if they want to bring something to the Kodesh Baruch Hu, but he doesn't have any money, so he can bring even the shvach carbon, and even this is mechaper. That's what the point is. Even though that's not what they were learning, they were learning carbon like Rashi says. It's not a kasha. I'm explaining why it's not a kasha in Rashi. Amar lahu asa milei kumtza kimcha deduchu v'dachi asara alfei kakri kasvedidi. This small little handful of flour that you used to do, and that you're doing now, because really learning halachas is like doing something, like we say, saying kamanas in the morning is being makriv the carbon. So this little flour that you are learned and you were makriv pushed away my 10,000 kikar kesef that I offered to the king. Amar lei. Now at this point, Amar sees lashon yachid. Mordechai finished davening, and now he chapped that something is not right. Notice he was nervous before, but he sees that the whole context changed, because he's sitting there waiting for him to daven, and with this line, he's saying obviously that the Haman's at a disadvantage. So he said, Rasha, you tell me you wrote a check against us for $10,000. That $10,000 belongs to me. You're my Eved. We said before that he sold himself. That's why you're so upset, right? Come put on these clothes and so Haman tells him, come, the king wants you to the king wants you to wear the clothing and ride the horse. Amalei the ayalna the beibai the eshka lemazia. I need to go to the bath and get a haircut. The lav ayach ara the shtamish the shamushe b'mane the malka. You can't wear clothing looking like a bum. He didn't, he's sacked the Afer. He's sitting at Bayless, mamish fasting and sitting at Bayless. He didn't shower, he didn't shave, whatever. He didn't cut his hair. He can't go just like this in the king's clothing. And now Shadra Esther the Asartinu Lukula Bebani Lukula Umane. She sent out a tzava that she sent out what's it called, a royal decree that all the bathhouses and all the barbershops should be closed that day. So therefore, the Haman would have to do it himself. So Ali Iyu the Beibani the Asche, he had to go to here at the bathhouse and to bathe him. But Azav Asizuza the base of Kashakel Bay Mazi, and he had to give him a haircut, which is very interesting because the Gemara is very meduyik that he got a haircut afterwards, which is a pella, because the minhag item today is to shower after you get a haircut. I'm saying if you have to shower and get a haircut, right? You would never take a haircut after a shower. If you know you have a wedding, you take a haircut, then you go take a shower. It's just interesting. While he was cutting his hair, he kvetched, he groaned. Haman, Amalei, I might come at nachas. What are you kvetching for? Amalei, the hava chashav le'lamalka mikul Rab Rivanoi. I'm the most chashav of all the officers. Hashu the shavi balani. Now I'm reduced to a bathhouse attendant and a barber. Every single time the Gemara talks about this, it's the bath first and then the barber. It's interesting. Amalei Russia, a lab sapper called Kfar Kartzim. Weren't you the barber of Kfar Kartzim? Tana Haman. We learned Taka Haman sapper called Kfar Kfar Kartzim Haya Esrim V'Shtayim Shani. For 22 years he was a barber. So he said that you came from nothing, whatever. You came from a low position, you ended up in a low position. Stop catching. See again, the Gemara says right after he got his haircut, he put on the clothing. Amalei sak v'roichem. No, get up and ride. Get up on the horse. Amalei I can't go up. Why? The chisha chelai mimei ta'anisa. I'm very weak from fasting. And I can get up myself. So he got down. Haman got down on all fours and acted as a stool for Mordechai. When he went up, Haman gave him Mordechai gave him a kick. Amalei like all of a sudden he becomes Namachachim Haman. He said, doesn't it say in your Torah don't rejoice with in your enemy's downfall? Amalei hani mi libi Yisrael. That's only when your fellow Jew is falling down. Even if he's your enemy, do not rejoice. Stamp on them and tread on them while they're down. There's this rule does not apply. And he called in front of him. When they passed Haman's house, she was standing on the roof and she saw this procession going on. That one is riding obviously as a chashav father, and one who's slapping the horse is Mordechai. Atzitza, the base hakise. She took the chamber pot from the bathroom, but they didn't have plumbing then, so everyone went to the bathroom. At least v'shadise aresha davua, and she threw it on the head of her father, who she thought was Mordechai. Dali ene. So as it was coming down, he lifted up his eyes, and she saw v'chaz davua. Also, she recognized her father. She was so distraught, she jumped off, and she jumped to her death. Mordechai al Shar Melech. Mordechai returned to the Shar Melech. So we're going to so he returned straight back to his tinus and to his sack, to his clothing, his garbage clothing. He didn't get all excited now that he saw that the tides are turning. He saw that the shoe was not here, and I'm going right back. He returned back to home. He was an Ava and Chafuy Reish. They talk about, I heard of her a long time ago, I'll try to say it quickly. Now, why was he an Aval first, right? First, he should be a Chafuy Reish, then he was an Aval. So why does it say Aval first? In Baba Kama, it says, remember this part? If the mazik is traveling towards the nizik, then it's not considered damaged until the mazik hits the nizik. So, for example, if I'm swinging a baseball bat towards a thing, or I throw a fastball towards a jug and you shoot it, you're chayiv because the mazik was headed towards the nizik. It's not considered destroyed. But if the pot is falling off a roof, then as soon as it leaves the avir of the roof, it's considered destroyed. And if I smash it before it gets to the ground, I'm pater. And the guy who threw it off is chayiv. Or if it fell off by itself, then no one's chayiv. So over here, she threw the waste from the bathroom. It's falling. It's the mazik towards the nizik, towards Haman. So it didn't hit him. Until it hits him, he's not considered kafoy reish. The second she sees, she jumps off. The second she jumps off, she's considered dead. So she ended up dead before he ended up a kafoy reish. So aval the kafoy reish. I remember this verse from a long time ago. It's Geshmak about aval abitai the kafoy reish al she'era like what happened to him. The yisaper Haman lazera ishtar the chalei avav. This is a raya that he had very bad shalom bias because it says he spoke to his wife Zeresh and all his love, all the people that loved him. So obviously his wife didn't love him. That's my dick. I didn't see it anywhere. Kari lahu I have a kari lahu chachamav. In the beginning of the pasuk it says I have, and when they answered him it's chachamav. Amar Rabbi Yochanan kol ha'ayim devar chachma afilu be'umais sha'aylam nikra chacham. We give the title chacham to someone who darshans the Torah dafka, and even if he's a umas aylam, he still gets the title of chachma of chacham. Because they said the following, the following psukim. Ibizera Yehuda Mordechai, right? That's the line in the Megillah. What were they telling him? Amrulei imishar shvatim. It could be that if he's from any other shvatim, you can get to him. But Yehuda Binyamin Ephraim Menashe lo yichled. If he's one of these four shvatim, you're done. Yehuda d'chsiv yatcha ba'arev hayvecha. We're talking about Yehuda. It says that I'm not sure this is during the brachas and Vayechi. I'm not sure, but it says that your hands are going to be at the neck of your enemy. So it shows Yehuda's gevura is miyuchad in the Torah. Enoch, the other ones, the chsibuhu l'fnei Ephraim Binyamin Menashe oirera es gevura secha. I'm going to be your gevura. So you see that these four shvatim are untouchable. Now he has 2 out of 4 because his father was from Binyamin and his mother was from Yehuda. So he's really good to go. Hinafal tipo lefanav. That's the pasuk in the Megillah. Why is this double lashon nefila? Amrullah, they said to him, we're comparing Achashbach compares us by Avam Avinu, right? He said you're going to be like your kids are going to be like the sand by the ocean and the stars in the Rakia. Sometimes when we fall, it's not good. So now that you see that they're on their way up, you know they're going straight up. There's no halfway. There's no half measures. Yep. So that's when nafal tipo, you're done. Like it's a double lashon. You're guaranteed to fall. The Zusei Hamelech Egiu Vayav. He was confused. He was like in a state of confusion. The diak over here is because the lashon of the king or Esther was the maher to hurry up and bring Haman. And then when it says that they did it in a fast way, it says Vayavilu, they hastened. Why they switch the lashon to teach you this diak of that he was in Bahala. This is Esther talking about the plan that's there to kill her nation. This protagonist is not worried with the welfare of the melech. She said, he doesn't care about you. He had his issues with Vashti and he had you kill her. In the beginning of the story, now he wants to kill me. He's trying to hurt you also. It says a double lashon of Vayomer. Why does it say in the middle of the same pasuk without anything said in between? It says Yomer Achashverosh Yomer Esther. Amr Rabivo B'tchila ad Ayidei Torgaman Kivan the Amr Lev Mibeis Shaul Kasena Miyad Yomer Esther Hamalka. And originally, he only spoke through a intermediary. Turkmen doesn't mean necessarily a translator because it wasn't a language barrier, but it was a malchus barrier. Like you have today, the Queen of England will not shake anyone's hand. She always wears a glove. She'll only shake other royalty. And you have the bayas also. There's like the Belzer would never touch anybody. He always wore a handkerchief. There's a famous story with him and the Baba Treva. Whatever. The point is that you see this idea that they even though he lived with her, he was his wife, but he wouldn't talk to her without someone else there. Without another person, without going through another person. What's the zeh? What's this extra lesson over here? I'm not sure if the because on hazeh. We'll see. She was pointing towards Achashverosh. And Haman, and she pushed her hand towards Haman. And they speak with a few different shots on why she pointed towards Haman. It's not Mastava that she got to this point, all this work, and then she's going to mess it up by pointing to the king and pissing him off. Like, it doesn't really like. You're gonna shtach the king that you're the one who's destroying my nation. Like, what's the point? So one shot is that she's really, she just wanted the king to kill her because the king would kill her. The Gzera would also be batal somehow. It's a few of them. Shad is very interesting. It's a very interesting idea. Melech Ham Chamasai ve'Melech Shad Megina Sabisan. Makish Shiva Lakima. So it says that he got up from he got up in anger and he walked out to the garden. He came back. So it says Makish Shiva Lakima. Makima b'chema Av Shiva b'chema. Just like when he left, he was upset. When he came back, he was upset. The garden did not do what it was supposed to do. The Azal, the Ashkech, why? Because what happened? He went out and he found the Malachi Asharis, the Idmul the Kagavri. There were Malachi Asharis that were disguised as regular people. But Ka'akri Lilane the Bustani. They were uprooting all his garden, all his trees in the garden. But Amar Lahu, Maya Vedetachu, what are you doing? Amalei, the Fakdin and Haman. Haman is Haman told us we have orders from Haman. Asla basically came Haman Neufel Alamita. So Neufel Nafal mi bailey. What's Neufel? Neufel is he's actively falling. So Imam caught him in the second that he fell. Amar Rabbilazim Melamit Shabam Malach v'Hipal Allah. The Malach kept on pushing him down. Amar Vai mi Beisa Vai mi Barav. And that's why he said, look, you're hurting me outside and you're hurting me inside. The gam is on you're destroying my outside and now you're also destroying my inside. That's the gam. So you see that there's something else going on that he just came from that shows you that there was a problem with his garment. He was part of this Get the Jews committee. As soon as he saw that things are not going to work out for his team, he bounced to the other side. It said that when Hashem's going to punish the Jews, the Goyim, it says he's not going to have Rachmanis. Even his friends are going to turn back on him and run away. The shechacha, it could be spelled shacha. To say that his anger abated, you just have to say shacha. What's the extra chaf? What's the double lashon? The achas shal Achashverosh. Talking about Akash Baruch Hu's anger abated and Achashverosh lahadlo. Amila. See the other way, really. He was both talking about Achashverosh. Achashverosh, his anger about Vashti abated and about Esther. He was saying about Vashti that Haman had him kill her. That he tried to sleep with her, he tried to attack her, and about this whole matzah that she's trying to kill her, and then all this thing that she just painted. Once he killed her. So the kulam nasan the ish khalifas smalis l'binyamin nasan chamish khalifas. So this is a pasuk now in the Megillah. It's a pasuk when Yosef introduced himself to his brothers and then give them parting gifts and send them back to Yaakov Avinu. He gave them clothing. After Davish and Tzar, so you see that. So he gave Binyamin five sets of clothing, and he only gave the brothers 2 sets of clothing. After Davish and Tzar, this that. Yes, he suffered his whole life from it, but until this point, how much of his life was suffered, right? 23 years? No, 13. How long was he in Mitzrayim? 17 to 30 is how long? 20 to 23, right? For 23 years, he's sitting in So it's only 13 years that he's missing?
17 years that he's missing.
Yeah, he was 17 years old when he left. And then he was 30, so it's 13 years. But okay, we'll see what has been later. But I get to he for 13 years he was separated from his father. He should fall into the same trap by giving one brother more than the other brothers, right? Now, what's interesting is that they say a couple of interesting points over here. It makes sense to the brothers that Yosef treated Binyamin better because it was his brother from his father and his mother. So I didn't. So there's a few different shatim that. Hey, we'll see. We're going to say the answer, and we'll say everything in the answer. Fine. The Amar Rav Machseya Amar Rav Chama Bar Amar Rav B'Shvil Mishkal Shnei Slam Melas from two slam of fine wool Shahis Yaakov Yosef Mishar Echav Nizgago Hadav V'Yada V'Sein Al Mitzrayim. So you see that this caused it. This kina from the brothers caused Yosef to end up getting sold into Mitzrayim, and then the whole goal is followed. And so how would he be next on the same thing, cause jealousy with his brothers? I remember Binyamin Bar Yafes, Remez Ramaz Lai, Sha'asid by Latzeis Mimene, Sheyetzim Lefnei HaMelech B'chamisha Levushei Malchus. He's referring to Mordechai, he's telling Binyamin that Mordechai is going to come out of you, and he's going to have 5 Levushei Malchus. Shenema Mordechai Yatzu Levush Malchus, Cheles, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Cheles, Ba'achor, V'ater Zav, V'gdayla, V'sachrev, Butz, V'agaman, fine. Fine. But so he's referencing these 5 big day melucha that he wore. So they say interesting points that, first of all, again, that idea that really made sense for Yosef to give Binyamin more, but it didn't make sense for Yaakov to give Yosef more because all the brothers, Yaakov is their father. Well, it's treated differently. So even if you want to say, so they said that the value of the clothing was the same. He gave it's the same value. He gave him like 2. Everyone got an Armani suit, and he got 5 whatever. He got 5 Marcy's, right? So that's not enough. But the point is, he got the same value of clothing, but he spread it over 5, and that's how they knew. That's how they knew that it was a simon. There was no Mila. What he has in his wardrobe is the same, basically.
But he gave him more money.
He gave money on top of that, but it made sense. That's what I'm saying. Part of it made sense that he gave him better treatment because it was his mother's kid. Also, it was his mother's brother. It was a brother from a mother and a father.
I'm saying if the clothing wasn't really better
then what was the?
I mean, he gave him better stuff.
Who said? That's how we grew up. That he gave him extra clothing. He gave him more clothing. It doesn't say he gave him more extra clothing. And there's different shots. One shot is that he gave them the same amount. The other shot is that he gave them Hitaka gave them better. I don't think anyone said that Hitaka gave him better. Well, he did. It said he did give him money also. So maybe after that they wouldn't be jealous because it's his mother's son. It's his mother. It's a brother from both. Okay. So then the story. Once we started with the story with Yosef and his brothers, we're gonna go through a job. He cried he fell on his brother's necks. How many necks did Binyamin have? I'm Rabbi Lazar. He cried on the 2 Beis Hamikdash that were going to be on Binyamin's chelak. Binyamin bacha al tzabarav. What's it referring to? Bacha al mishkan shila she'asal liyas b'chalka she'yas v'asal licharev. V'nei nechem royais v'enei achi Binyamin. So he's saying to look at your eyes and see Binyamin, your brother. Amar, your eyes see and the eyes of my brother, Binyamin. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Amar lahem, kashem she'ein belibi. Binyamin Achi. I don't have any tightness on Binyamin because Binyamin Bechla wasn't part of the sale, so I have nothing to be upset about him about. Bechla wasn't involved. I have no tightness against you. What is it? What is this? The way I'm talking to you is the way I feel about you. Everything is we're good 100%. He sent his father the best of Mitzrayim, 10 donkeys worth. My Mitov Mitzrayim, Amar Rabbi Yamin, Vayefes, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Shalach Layayin Yashan, Shadas Zakinim, Noicha Imenu. I didn't see it, the Shmak of Shah, like why Yosef was like why Yaakovino was like a shtickle. It says that old people like to drink wine because it warms them up, where they remind themselves that good thing, like wine is the only thing that really ages well. So it's saying that just like wine ages well, so too you age well, something like that. So they fell in front of him. Amar Rabbi Yamin Bar Yefes, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Hainu Dami Inshi. A fox in his time bow to him. So even though fox is not the king of the jungle, but when the fox is having his moment, shtelzu to him. For the Gemara Tala, is he a fox? Man the tzurise, but me'achayva. What? Why me'achayva? What's his me'achayva? Why is he considered a fox compared to his brothers? That makes no sense. What he said, Rabbi Lazar said on this, Rabbi Yom Bar Yefes said in the name of Rabbi Lazar said on this pasuk, when he came to visit Yaakov Avinu, when he was sick and he was almost dying, and so Yaakov Avinu sat up and bent down towards the head of the mita. So Klape Yaakov makes sense to call Yosef a fox. He spoke to them. This is talking about Yosef talking to his brothers again. He spoke to them things that they were makabel on labor. Just like you 10 couldn't distinguish my flame. So even if I did have beef with you, what am I going to do? You 10 of you couldn't destroy me. How am I going to destroy 10 of you? So now we're back to the Megillah. Yehuda Ma'isa Ayra v'Simcha v'Satz Mikar. Amir Rav Yehuda Ayra Zutayra v'Cheinu Aymer Kiner Mitzvah v'Tayra Ar. Simcha Zed Yamtiv v'Cheinu Aymer v'Simachta b'Chagecha. Want to sing or no? Sasan Zumila v'Cheinu Aymer Sasan Aichi Al Imrasecha. This is David Melech being very excited about his bris milah. Now it's very interesting that today's daf quotes this Gemara. If you look at the Messiah Shas, the Achaf is it is Menachas Mem Gimel. It's today's daf. So this Gemara was brought down today. Why David Melech was so excited about his bris milah? Because he found himself in a mikvah without any of the simanim. He said, I don't have tzitzis, I don't have tefillin. I'm standing here arum for mitzvahs, and he remembered his bris, and he said this tefillah on his bris, on the mitzvah bris. So he's very excited about it. The Ikar elu atfillin b'chinu aimer. The Ikar is a lesson of like awe, respect. That's tefillin. They're going to fear you, which is a sign of reverence and respect, and that's referring to the tefillin. The Tanya of elu tefillin shabbos. This passage is talking about tefillin shabbos. The S Pashandasa Aseres Bnei Haman. I think I didn't say all of them. Amar the min Yafim from Yafim said Aseres Bnei Haman Aseres. The 10 names of, we know this halacha, the 10 names of Haman and the word Aseres Tzarich L'Memrino B'Nashim Achas have to be said in one breath, like I'm trying to do this daf. My timer. What's the reason? Kulu B'Hadi Adadi Nefakim Shmasayu. They all. It's nice, obviously, that they all die the same second. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Vav the vayavasa tzarich lemintacha b'zekifa. He has to be very long. It's different sheets of what it's supposed to be. Either it's extra straight or it's very. So we pass on that it's long. Why? That should look like kamurdi de lebrus. The poles that the boatmen in the lebrus use. My timer kulu b'chad zekifa is the kifu. They all died. They all hung on one long pole, and they all had their place in it. So Vaizasa is either it's machlokes if he's the tallest, if he's the first one, or the longest. Now, he's the last one to be mentioned. But the question is if they mention him, in which order they mention him. Fine. Amar Rav Chanina bar Papa Darash Rav Shila Ish Kvar Timrasa Kol Shira is Kula Nechtavais Ariach Agabi Levena. The Shira is written wide and then like bricks of like a bricks on a wall, right? So too wide, and then in the middle is a short one. Too wide, same thing, right? Agabi chutz mashir zu umalchit kanan she'orech agabi aricha. Levena agabi levena. My time. Tekuma l'mapalasan. When you have it, when it's built like a bricks, there's a place. Even if you fall, there's a place to get back up. But if it's built straight, and once you fall off, you're down all the way to the bottom, and that's how the mapala of these two of these guys should be. So Amar Abavo, the story Alpiv. He started off angry. He said the Yidden, they killed 500 Jews and they made a whole thing. And at the end, he ends off. He says, what do you want? He asks her again, what can I do for you? So you see his tone shifted in the middle of the conversation. Amar in Hasefer, Amar. So it says Esther talking, and it says Lashon Zachar Amar. Rami Wele. It should say Lashon Nekeva. Amar Lai. The Amar B'Peh Mashakasav B'Sefer. It's the Megillah telling us that you should say this over we should say you should say it over the way it's written. That this is part of the mitzvah to say it over. The Sham the Emes. Amar Tanachim ba'Amar La Amar Asim Melamish Tzrichon Asertot Kamita Shatayra. The Sham the Emes is talking about the Torah. It's comparing it to the Sefer Torah that also needs Sertot, and the same thing Megillah needs Sertot. And according to Man that whole that Torah does not need Sertot, it's referring to Mezuzah, which is also called Emes, and it needs Sertot like a Mezuzah. Mama Esther Kiyam. Maimer Esther in Divrei HaTzam is Loi. Did it say that? No, it's just the words. Just Esther's part of this was the one that was what sealed the deal, not the fasting. Really, everything did it. The fasting and Esther's words. Part of Sanhedrin disassociated from him because he started spending more time in the king's palace and stopped learning as much. First, when it lists Mordechai, it lists him after 4 Nevi'im, and afterwards, later on, it lists him after 5. Yeshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, Re'elia, Mordechai, Bilshin, so he's number 5. He's after 4. Yeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ra'amya, Nechamani, Mordechai Bilshin. He's after 5. He's number 6. I'm gonna have Item Rav Shmuel Bar Marta. Okay, this is gonna take us all the way down to the end of the parak. This shtickle here, we're gonna have the whole cheshbon. Okay. Item Rav Shmuel Bar Marta. Gadol Tamatayr Yosim Mabini Beis Hamikdash. Shekol Zman Shebarach Ben Neriah Kayim La'inichai. Ezra did not leave until his Rebbe was nifter. He was learning Torah by him, and he didn't go up after the first shift to build the Beis Hamikdash. He went only 5 years later. Amar Rabba Maritzak Vashmu Bar Marta Gadol Tamatayr Yosim Kibbut Aveim. Tamatayr is even greater than Kibbut Aveim. Shekol Eisen Shanan Shehaya Yaakov Avinu Bebeis Ever Leinanesh. He was not punished for the time that he was away from his father that he spent by Shem Be'ever. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Lama Nimnu Shneisa. What was the point? Why did the Torah tell us the years of the Shmuel? It actually says he's a Rasha. Why do I care how long he lives for? In order to figure out Yaakov Avinu's timeline, we need to know how old Yishmael was. Okay? Yishmael Ma'as Shana V'Shloishim Shana V'Sheva Shana. So Yishmael was 137 years old when he died. But Kama Kash Yishmael meets like how much older than Yitzchak was Yishmael? Arbe Sishnim, 14 years. How do we know? T'chsev Avram ben Shmainim Shana v'Sheish Shanim b'Ledis Hagar as Yishmael. Avram, not Avraham. Avram at the time was 86 years old. Right? The Uksiv Avraham ben Ma'ashana b'Valed Lai as Yitzchak benai. When Yitzchak was born, Avraham was 100. So that means 14 years. Well, now when Yaakov was born, Yitzchak was 60 years old. So quick math, how old was Yishmael? How old was Yishmael when Yaakov was born? He was 74. Simple, right? How much more time did he have? 63. 137 minus 74 is 63. I did the math before, right? Shitim with plus 63. Oh, Gemara does it. V'tanya Yaakov Avinu b'Shoshan is Barach me'aviv ben Shishin v'Shalei Shana. He was 63 years old when he ran away to Lavan. Ubay Perek makes Yishmael. Yishmael died in that Perek, so everything stems, right? He was 63 when he left. Yishmael died when Yaakov Avinu was 63 years old because he was 74 when he was born. 74 and 63 is 137. Yar Esav ki Berach. Esav saw that. Not Berach. Hold on one second. It was on Yaakov B'Shashin is Barach me'aviv. Yeah, I think it's so mad he ran away. But Yar Esav the Berach is a different Berach that he got benched. Now that he saw that Yaakov got the brachas, he said, it's because I'm not married to good ladies. So what did he say? V'yelech Esav el Yishmael v'yikach es machlas vas Yishmael achos nevayos. Now we already know Yishmael's kids, so why do you have to tell me that she's the sister of Nevayos if you told me that she's the bas of Yishmael? I know that she's the sister of Yishmael. Yishmael officiated the Kedushin, V'meis So he's mentioned in the story because he also had a part to play in her marrying Esav. Okay, so we see that Shmuel Chaka died and that was the same. That was right then when Yaakov Avinu ran away, 63. So everything stemmed. Shitin the Tlas or Abesa ad the Misel of Yosef. Now there's 14 years until Shitin the Tlas. So right, so I have 63. Abesa and 14 ad the Misel of Yosef. Hashem Shiva 77. Right, because 14 years. He did 7 years for Leah, and then he got Rachel, but he had to work another 7 years. And then once Yosef was born, he tells Lavan, "I'm done. I paid my bills. I'm out." Yosef Yosef was 30 years old when he. Oh, because he was older than 30 when he met his father again. Okay, whatever. He was 30 years old when he stood in front of Parai. What? We'll see with the Gemara. This is the Gemara. It's funny that it came up over there, but this is the Gemara. He was 30 years old when he came in front of Parai. So now, again, if Yaakov Avinu was 77 when he was born, 30 years later he is 107. He's 107. Right now, Shav the Shiva, 7 years of plentiful, the chafla, and 2 years of famine, because that's Yaakov came after 2 years of famine and stopped. Now it's 100, and he should be how old? 116, right? 104 plus 107. Thank you. 107 plus 9 is 116. Beautiful. How much is how old are you? 130 years. So what are we short by? 14 years. Our cheshbon was 116. He tells Pari 130. It should have been 116. He didn't count. We don't have this cheshbon of we're missing 14 years. Tanya he was locked away in, not locked, but he was hiding away in Shem Aver for 14 years. After he went back, 2 years after he went back to Aram Naraim, Aver died. So he left there and he went to Aram Naraim. Nimtza k'shamar ala be'er ben shivim v'sheva shana. He was 70. So he was 77 years old when he met Rachel. We know on the light manish. How do we know that he wasn't punished for those years? The Tanya Nimtza Yosef shepirish be'avav esem v'shtayim shana. Yosef was gone for 22 years. Kashem shepirish Yaakov avav me'avav. Yaakov Avinu me'avav. The Yaakov plus in v'shisan have it, but it was much more. It was plus in 36, right? So 30. So it's 22 minus 30. 36 minus 22. Ella abesa to have a base ever like chashavlu. So if the base love and estim shouldn't have it, Maisi was only there for 20 years. Ella, he was there at the base love and estim shouldn't. He was there for 20 years, not 14. Ella mishum the shtay be'archa tartin shnin. He waited an extra 2 years till he came. The time because he left Yatzim Ram Narayim Balai the Sukkot. He spent 18 months in Sukkot after Lavan. The Asa Sham Shman Asa Chaydish. The Asa Sham Shman Asa Chaydish Shnev Yaakov Nasa Sukkotsav even like bias when the Knei Asa Sukkot base cal Asa Shisha Gadashim Vehikra Zvachim. So it's another 2 years into the program, and that's the 2 years that are missing from Lavan. Okay, that cheshbon I feel like I'm missing part of it. I have to do it again. But Hadan Allah Megilla Nikras. Shkayach. Second. That was a long share. I wanted to finish the paragraph.